We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 333 of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. And it's another pay-per-view weekend. You know what that means. It's Scholars of Wrestling Predictions! Woo!
What he said.
Yeah, what I said. And now I bet you all at home are wondering, why am I doing the intro? Why am I taking the reins off Scholar Jeff for, I guess, hosting duties? Well, it's because not only is it a pay-per-view prediction show, it's a Scholars of Wrestling World Championship match. And so I decided to just, instead of having the champion, do all the intros, I'll just do it all for myself.
So someone's got to keep all of these intense personalities in check. Isn't that right, Scholar Brian?
Oh, no. Hey. Pause right there. You are not doing this. I am doing the intros. I am your undisputed Scholar Tarek, alongside the reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion of the world, Scholar Jeff. Hello, Scholar Jeff.
You used the "you" word in a reference to someone other than yourself. I applaud your humility, number one. And number two, I was just saying Brian's name. I was not trying to attempt to steal your thunder in any way, shape, or form. But now that the focus is on me, Brian, you are going down swiftly.
Okay, we got that trash talking. And now the challenger to the Scholars of Wrestling Championship, the former Scholars of Wrestling Champion of the World, Scholar Brian, my tag team partner. Hello, Scholar Brian. How are you this evening?
Feeling pretty good about my chances, knowing how Jeff normally predicts.
Normally predicts, yes, but
yes,
will I go normal predictions this time around? That's the question.
He gets a pretty good pay-per-view every now and then where he comes out and randomly wins the title out of nowhere. And then a month or two down the road, everything comes back down to earth. The world gets back on its axis, and one of the kings of Scholars of Wrestling gets the title back. So this time it's going to be me.
Say whatever you wish, Brian, but at the end of the day, I'm good, bad, I'm still the guy with the belt.
It's now just leading to the question, which one of these two gentlemen will go into WrestleMania as the Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion? Who?
Me. Staying right here, baby.
Goldie is staying on that shoulder?
But yes, Goldie is staying with me. But then again, I am a respectable fighting champion, so I'm willing to put it to the test.
Isn't it safe to say that we all been respectable fighting champions?
Oh yeah, of course. This is me attempting to trash talk right now.
Yeah, it's like, for the most part, we've also had, a few of us have had reigns where we've gollemed like no one has ever gollemed before. But
I have no idea what you mean.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I kind of don't know what you mean. How what does it mean? What do you mean by gollemed?
Like hoarding.
He's the one who came up. Scholar Jeff is the one who came up with the term.
Like hoarding this belt and not wanting to defend it as little as possible. I know I've done that. Right, my first reign was like that. I think just about every other reign I've ever had has been like that.
Yeah,
this is the exception where I'm like, okay, let's have some fun with this. Let's put it on the line. Let's scramble for it. Let's fight for it, and see who walks out the winner.
Though, to be fair, I think this would have been a point where I think you would have had to defend the title no matter what. I think this is the third pay-per-view.
No, it's
this is the second.
The third pay-per-view would be WrestleMania.
Technically speaking, I would not have had to defend this until WrestleMania, but you made a good case, kid. We'll see if you got the stripes for another reign.
Because he won it at, what was it, Elimination Chamber?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so
and
yeah,
the
you're right.
Elimination Chamber was after Evolution, so that would be. So this would be number 2.
Wait, no, Revolution was so yeah. It still would have ended up being WrestleMania, but Revolution was after EC
No,
because that was the number
yeah.
one contender match that we
Yeah,
had.
that's right.
Which technically we technically actual prediction show wise we tied, but it was obviously
I've got
the deciding factor that like it didn't count, but it was just like it didn't count to the overall predictions, but it just counted to the tiebreak. It was the tiebreaker.
Because I've got the inside scoops.
Oh no, I'm not complaining. I am more than I'm more than happy to having you go for the title, sir. I honestly, since I've already reached the milestone that I need to go for, it's now every title. No, don't you eyeball me. It's now reached that point where I'm just like, if I win the title, I win the title.
If he does, he does.
So at that point, I can just go without even just doing I'm tongue twisted. I would mind not going for the title anymore because okay, I already got it. I already got everything I can do.
You say that until the next time you end up winning it. And then
it will be a good feeling.
Starts anew.
It will be a good feeling when I do if and when I do win it again. I will say that it will feel good. But at that point where it's like, okay, it's just another title reign. I don't know. I don't care what happens. Hell, I'll probably even pull a Brian and defend it every pay-per-view.
The siren song will get us all eventually, and it'll get you once again. Mark my words.
And let's be completely honest, with the pay-per-view that we're about to predict right now, you had to do something to spice it up. Because this is pretty weak, boys.
Oh,
hey,
this is pretty weak.
Looking at the card itself, I wouldn't say it's fully weak. It's just, of course, WWE booking, they booked it terribly. Hell, even Monday, I was actually reached the point where I actually wanted to have a full-on rant this week of just how much I've been hating WWE booking.
Oh, hey, given how this will go, probably, I'd say we've got one of those waiting in the wings right before WrestleMania. At least one.
Like Raw itself did did more of a job building for Mania than it did for Fastlane at the Go Home show. But again, I would have ranted, but I'm in a good mood. So with that being said, let us just dive right into WWE Fastlane. Life in the Fastlane. With I actually put this in order that I think of relevance. So take these as a reaction as you will. I'm going to start with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and the Royal Rumble winner Bianca Belair. Champion, you go first. Go ahead, fool. What's your prediction?
I'd say this one is fairly clean cut, especially if you see how they wrap things up on this evening's episode of SmackDown. I'm predicting Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to retain their titles. Sasha Banks and Bianca are naturally going to go into the final step of their feud, setting the stage for WrestleMania. And then, who is it? Tamina and Natalya are going to be potential challengers for the women's tag titles at WrestleMania. So I'm going with Nia and Shayna to retain.
Sir Brian, what are your predictions?
Yeah, they backed themselves into a corner with this one because it's like they've booked the Sasha and Bianca feud so badly going into WrestleMania. Like this is AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura all over again. Like you had it in the palm of your hands. All you had to do was just ride it out. But all kinds of stupid bullshit you had to pull, and now we're here where they're getting a tag team title shot again. What is it? 3 weeks? 3
Long
weeks
enough.
till Mania?
At this point, who cares?
No, the question: 3 weeks till Mania?
3 weeks till Mania. It feels
Yeah.
like there's been 3 title defenses already. Like I said, it's enough for me.
Yeah. So it's one of those, if you were gonna do this, if you were gonna do the title change, okay, you do it at the last pay-per-view. You don't do it at this one 3 weeks before the show. This is the breaking point. I agree with our champion. This is the breaking point where everything goes nuts. And Banks and Belair kick it into high gear to try to salvage what they can out of this horribly booked feud, but they can't walk out with the titles here. Jax and Baszler to retain.
See, normally I bet you two would think, oh, my hatred for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler would just have me pretty much pull an anti-Jeff and just predict against them every single time. But I'm also going to go with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler because as what you guys have been saying, the entire build around Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair have just been absolutely horrible. And in my personal opinion, I think it's actually worse than the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura storyline that they built a few years ago, because in a way, this is similar to Carmella versus, let's see, who, I guess Charlotte was the women's champion at that point, because the main focus around, at least against with Carmella in particular, it's built around the man that she has in her corner. Before it was James Ellsworth, and now at this time it's Reginald, which I will be completely honest, I have kind of like a love-hate feeling for Reginald. I hate that he's kind of taken the center of the women's championship storyline, but it's so bad, it's hilarious to me. But he'll obviously get involved at some point in this match.
Oh, yeah.
And a part of me is thinking now, because I voted with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, Reginald is going to actually have Sasha and Bianca win the tag team championships. Just like, oh, I was close with Nia just to get her guard down, just so you guys can actually win. I wouldn't get past WWE if they'd pull up some kind of stupid shit like that. But prediction wise, I'm sticking with Nia and Shayna. Any response to the Reginald?
I really don't think Reginald is going to play that big of a part yet. I feel like they've got too much invested in Reginald and the combination of Nia and Reginald as foils for each other. I think there's too much there. I feel like if they did do it again, I'm not saying it's an impossible pick. The safe money in my mind says that they're probably going to pull the trigger on more Reginald shenanigans later on, maybe a couple months down the road. But for the time being, I'd say it's all just focused on the tag belts and the eventual discord between Sasha and Bianca. Too many Ias.
I honestly think that Reginald's the reason why Sasha and Bianca lost at Elimination Chamber, I guess it was.
Whatever the last pay-per-view was.
Yeah, he was the reason they lost that one. So it's like I feel like they're just gonna run it back.
They're gonna have a history repeats itself, and he's gonna cost them this match.
And he's got to cost him again because it's what he's been doing for the last like month and a half. He's just been costing Sasha and Bianca matches. So it's like, why stop now? You've already screwed up this feud so badly. Just keep running with it.
Also, I think the WrestleMania Tag Team Championship match is going to be Nia and Shayna versus Mandy and Dana Brooke. I think that's what they're going to go for the title match at Mania.
Because you need faces. in that match, and Tamina and Natalia are not.
Mm-hmm. Hell, maybe have that be a triple threat tag team. I don't know. Who cares? Moving on. We're gonna now move on to the match that I saw on the .com, but I don't know if they said anything on the show. But like I told you guys before we started recording, I didn't watch SmackDown, so I don't even know what you guys were hinting at with the women's build-up. But it says on the .com that it's for the United States Championship, Matt Riddle defending the title against Mustafa Ali. Brian, you go. Who do you have for this match?
I think that they continue the idea of Retribution breaking apart, and I just don't see how you have Riddle lose the title this quickly after beating after taking it from Bobby Lashley. Albeit not pinning him, but you took it from Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't see. I like Ali. I like him a lot, but I don't see how it's a good idea to take the title off of Riddle at this juncture. So I'm going with Riddle to retain.
I'm also going to go with Riddle. I mean, at this point, I can see them just trying their damnedest to keep Retribution a thing and having Ali win the belt. But at this point, who cares? Yeah, I'm going to also go with Riddle to retain. Just not even just the fact, it's nothing against Ali because he's a very talented individual, but I just don't see anything going down the line when it comes to the United States Championship with him. I see more opportunities for Riddle, at least in good storytelling that they can tell with this character. Fool?
The one thing I disagree with you on is that who cares? I care. I've come to care very much about what Mustafa Ali is doing right now. And I think he's got a good solid chance of getting the US title at WrestleMania. I do not think it's going to happen now. I think there's something missing. There's like an X factor, something I can't adequately explain. But I feel like Mustafa Ali is one of those guys whose stock doesn't have the rocket strapped to him, even if they'd like him to. He's the kind of guy who just goes little by little by little, starts gaining momentum for himself. First, it's okay, a heel turn. Whoa. Then it's some stumbling blocks. Then there's a good solid promo. Then there's a good solid match. Then there's another promo and another good match, and so on until you just keep building yourself up until you're undeniable. If this is where you need to be to get the title, I'd say Mustafa is about here. He's getting real close, but with the kind of momentum he's building for himself and the reputation that he has, both in the eyes of the fans and in the eyes of the office, my gut feeling says that he is absolutely due for some sort of reward, some sort of belt, some sort of accolade sometime soon. I just don't think it's going to be at WWE Fastlane of all places. I'm calling Riddle to retain.
And I ask you, you really see something in Ali? You really think you've really been seeing some kind of build momentum that he's been building?
The word I'm going to go with here is tenacity, where in my mind, I've seen a lot of characters in wrestling, a lot of wrestlers, a lot of talents, take your pick, just become really discouraged when the WWE machine or wrestling in general just doesn't go your way. I haven't been seeing that so much out of Ali. I've been seeing more frustration forged into a sword to just keep on fighting and keep on going, to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. not to the same extreme extent that we've seen some breakout stars over in the past few years, but I'm seeing something. I'm seeing someone who is not giving up, not giving in. I'm going to name drop Zack Ryder here. Like eventually, if you just keep on going, if you keep on doing good work and you keep on being over and just keep on grinding, eventually something's got to give. Is it guaranteed when you're talking about WWE? I know what you're thinking, Brian. No, it is absolutely is not. But this is more where the gut feeling comes into play, and that says, you know what? I think Mustafa, is something's got to give in his favor, and I think it's going to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, my statement wasn't going to be about what you thought it was going to be about. The problem with it's actually an apt comparison, because everything great about Ali is only being showcased on YouTube and the Raw talks. Like I'm not seeing it on the actual show. But when it's on YouTube and when it's on Twitter and when it's on Raw Talk, it's like, dude, where's this guy on the TV? Or where is this man? Because the stuff that he's doing on YouTube, yeah, like Zack Ryder, the stuff he's doing on YouTube, the stuff that he's doing backstage, the stuff that he's doing that isn't on the TV show, top-notch stuff, great stuff. And then he gets on TV, and his team and his whole storyline is kind of a joke.
And that you could just see that as you could see that as a big difference, because when you look at Raw Talk and social media, they have the creative freedom to actually get themselves over. But when you're on the actual shows itself, you just got to stick to the script. And that is the biggest flaw that WWE has, and that they've had for the past few years. There's you could tell the big difference when you get guys on Raw Talk or Talking Smack or social media, because they are not being held down. Like, they have their characters, and they can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. They're not being held back by anything. You can hear these promos and just see that these are genuine. These are genuinely coming out of them, not from a script. Like, you look at the Daniel Bryan Cesaro thing a couple of weeks ago. You look at Ali now. You look at Peyton Royce's promo on on Raw Talk. Yeah, you see the passion going through them, because it's actually them. And then when you get on the actual shows itself, they're stuck behind Vince McMahon's script, and just a reminder, they don't see anything in you to actually make your story worth a damn, if it's not in the WWE Championship or Universal Championship picture.
No argument there.
Oh, I was expecting something out of, like, anything to add to that, or is it, or I'm on step in the right direction, Brian?
No,
because I was going.
It's pretty much the I can see both viewpoints. I can see why Tarek was asking why do you see anything in Ali, and I can see why Jeff is like, I see a lot in Ali, because you get two separate. You get two different versions of Ali in two different mediums, so it's like I can see both viewpoints.
All right. Sad but true. Moving on, we got another recent match that was announced, specific more on SmackDown. Seth Rollins taking on Shinsuke Nakamura in just, a grudge match. I believe it's my go. Yeah, third match. As much as I want to predict Shinsuke, they're obviously building up for Seth Rollins and Cesaro for WrestleMania. So Seth Rollins needs the win more here. I got really nothing more else to add to that. It's just building up to Seth Rollins and Cesaro, and Seth needs to win. Fool?
I'm honestly a little surprised that you're a little disappointed that Shinsuke is going to lose here when you know full well the whole reason why he's doing that. It's all just to set up Seth Rollins so your boy Cesaro can knock him down on the grandest stage of them all. And you know what? As much as I hate to see someone the caliber of Shinsuke's talent being knocked down and just used in this manner, I'm sadly I'm just used to it at this point. If he's on his way out, which again I've got no insider knowledge or anything of the sort, then I would not blame him. But at least he's going to be used to bring someone up, and eventually that's going to be Cesaro. But for Fastlane, it's going to be Seth Rollins. All
right, Brian, who do you got?
Yeah, once again, gonna have to agree across the board here. It's technically Seth Rollins' first one-on-one pay-per-view match since he came back at the Rumble, and as is basically everything on Fastlane, this is to build to something bigger at WrestleMania. And as much as it sucks that Shinsuke isn't going to be further involved after this, this is all just to further the Seth Rollins versus Cesaro feud, and to continue, and in order for that to continue, Seth Rollins has to win here. All right. So it'll be a great match because you got two great competitors in there, but the winner is not in doubt.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate, but true. But yeah, that's pretty much said the exact same thing. I'm actually like, well, why is it surprise for me? Yes, it is building up to a Cesaro match, but yeah, I do want to see Shinsuke succeed too. It's like not at the cost of Shinsuke, but hey, it makes sense storyline wise. I mean, they were tag team champions at one point, so it's not just him being thrown into this. There actually is history, continuity. Boom, boom. All right. Moving on, we got the Intercontinental Championship match. Big E defending the title against a brand new Apollo Cruz. Fool, who do you got for this one?
I'll tell you what, I don't have emotional investment in this. I know these guys are trying. I know for a fact that they are. But this, I feel like something's weirding me out about Apollo Cruz's accent, and there's something that's not quite landing for me about Big E and his more serious persona. I can't tell if it's just me or not that's just been seeing his goofier side in New Day for all these years. I'm just like expecting him to just go into something and be funny like any given moment. And that part is hindering me from getting emotionally invested in this. But come whatever may, this is probably going to honestly be one of the harder ones to call for me. Like I don't totally think that Big E is going to lose by traditional WWE logic, but at the same time, it seems like they're going to be investing quite a bit into Apollo Cruz. So I'm like, what are they really going to do? Like, what do I feel more strongly about? And after thinking about it, I think the traditional WWE logic is going to prevail. I'm thinking that Big E is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay. Brian, do you agree with the champion's view?
For me, as for emotional investment, we can't be further apart. This is one of the matches that I'm most looking forward to. I'm enjoying what both men are putting out right now. Yeah, I agree the accent is a little weird, but when you know that it's actually Apollo Cruz, like he's actually Nigerian, like it's like a thing. So it's like it. I can deal with that. I could deal with it. It came out of nowhere, but so I can see why would it affect people in weird ways. And Big E getting serious just means that they're getting serious about an actual push for this guy to the main event. Okay, they're not going to have Big E in the main event doing his New Day shtick. So it's like now that they're showing that you can actually piss this guy off to the fact where he wants to maim you. Okay, that's it. And I think that as for the winner, okay, I would be happy with either outcome. This is a match where nothing that could happen would piss me off, but I don't think it's time yet. I think that they're gonna have Apollo Crews look extremely strong in a loss here. And I don't think Big E's had the title long enough yet. I think that they're gonna give him a nice long reign as the Intercontinental Champion, and then towards next WrestleMania season, that's when we'll start seeing the big main event push.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to go different with you guys. I actually think Apollo Crews is going to win the Intercontinental Championship at this show, and I think it's actually going to be the only title change that's going to happen on this show. Spoiler alert for later in the show. To go on what Jeff was saying about how he feels about the change of Apollo's character, of like changing the accent and all of that. Apparently, from what I've been hearing and reading, that most people with Nigerian heritage, Nigerian background, actually are enjoying this and saying, yeah, the accent is authentic. It actually sounds like a Nigerian accent, and as Brian put it, Apollo actually is Nigerian descent. So it just fits well with what they're going for character-wise. And it just seems like they're giving him somewhat creative freedom with the character, because, he knows what he's talking about. It's not just a evil foreigner type thing that WWE is usually accustomed for. So for me personally, the fact that Apollo has gotten multiple title matches in the past, and he's always lost that, now that he has this brand new character and it's actually hot, I think it's now time just to cash in and just have him win the championship off Big E and just keep this feud going. So yeah, because I just don't think Apollo could afford another loss, especially with such a big character change for him. And like what Brian said, I'm actually very invested. This is a match I'm looking forward to on the show as well. And it's not just because it's the Intercontinental Championship match. I'm actually invested in the storyline. So with that, I'm going to say Apollo Crews is going to be your new Intercontinental Champion. All right. Next up, we got one of the most interesting matches on the card, an intergender match between Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. I think it's Brian's go. Who do you got for this wacky match that we're going to get at this pay-per-view?
I've got no one.
You think it's just going to end with a no contest?
It's a no contest. This is the vehicle for the Fiends to return, so that we can get the Fiend versus Randy Orton in Mania.
So we could just Jeff and I can just write no contest for you, like no winner.
I feel like I feel like there's gonna be no winner here. I'm not even certain if the bell rings.
All right, I guess I'm gonna write no contest.
I did say no contest, so
All right, so
this might be a first. This
Yeah.
might
It
be
very well could.
uh, I'm not gonna go as far as saying it's gonna be a no contest. Obviously, this is gonna be a more cinematic thing than anything else, and it's obviously just set up for the Fiend to return. I'm honestly hoping that it's gonna be through the mouth of Randy. Like he's gonna cough out the black goop, and we're just gonna see like something come out that will eventually become the Fiend again.
The Fiend is now the T1000.
Like,
Damn it!
there's
why'd you
people
not
that have been
say
talking
I
about
could
they want to
them
see the
doing
Fiend
that?
just burst himself out of Randy Orton, Freddy Krueger style.
You are
Something
all
like-
my fireflies now.
like in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where he just rips himself out of the guy's chest. Like we're gonna see something like that with the Fiend. Honestly, I think because Bray Wyatt, when he first disappeared, when he first got lit on fire, he posted a picture of like a cocoon in ashes. I think this is gonna go is I think it's just going to be more cinematic nonsense with Alexa Bliss. She's going to have that musical box that she's been carrying around the last few weeks. Orton's going to take it and destroy it. And that's what's going to lead up to much more bigger black goo coming out of his mouth, and a cocoon that Orton will basically cough himself up goo in a pod. He passes out and Alexa wins. I think I'm predicting Alexa Bliss is going to win. And she's going to take that evil pod, and we're going to see whatever happens with that pod at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Hey man, this whole storyline has been absolutely ridiculous. And I personally love it.
Play into it. Yes.
I want to play into it. Especially to the fact that they even throw in a darker Randy Orton feuding against the current Randy Orton. It's just more ridiculous nonsense. Like you're probably going to have Orton wanting to kick Alexa Bliss in the head. He's going to go for it, and he's just going to stop and see the darker version of himself in Alexa Bliss's spot, just to play more mindfuckery on him. And that's all this match is going to be, a big old mindfuck. And I can't wait for it. And so I'm not going to go no contest. I'm going to actually pick a winner, and I'm going with Alexa.
I think in this particular instance, I need to thank you both for breaking down all the possible ways that this can go, because I have to admit, this was going to be the hardest one to predict for me, because I think it's safe to say that we all know how this is going to end. Like, we all know what the finish line is. It's going to be The Fiend versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. The question in my mind always was, how are we going to do it? How are we going to get there? Because with all the wackiness and all the special effects and all the cinematography that you can throw at this thing, you can do pretty much anything. This is a well of unpredictability in a desert of stale corporate BS. That being said, however, I really had no idea how this was going to go. Like, was the Fiend going to show up now, or was it going to be a big, sparkly, scary debut at WrestleMania, or re-debut? Personally, here, I didn't know what the hell to go for, but for this, when in doubt, go with your heart and go for a sake of fun. I'm going to go Randy Orton just to make it fun for this particular prediction game. And not for nothing, if I had to predict some sort of finish, I'm thinking Randy Orton hits an RKO, ends up winning a match, but then ends up vomiting up more goo, and then the Fiend just turns into like the T1000 and reforms from all the goo, all the things.
I love that there's a very real chance that this pay-per-view prediction show is going to come down to goo. That's it.
At least when it comes to the title match.
Is
'Cause
coming down to
it's all about the goo. It's all about the goo.
It's all about the goo when it comes to the title match. I mean, because I've chose Apollo before, so that's the first difference we've had on this prediction show. But now that we have this craziness, so now it's just, will the title be decided over black goo?
Yeah. Will the title be decided over black goo and a no contest? That's it.
If I lose the title over this crazy nonsense, I'm going to be pissed. Be like, take your goo and go home. Just good.
All right. Before we move on to the two main event matches, we are like not sure if this match is actually going to happen. Like, it was announced on Monday, but they took it off. They took it off any form of WWE build except Wikipedia, which it still has it as of now. We're just gonna throw it in just in case it happens. They're probably just gonna save it for WrestleMania in a slime match. The winner, you only win the match by throwing your opponent into a giant vat of slime.
Damn it! Watch out that now. That's exactly what they're gonna do now. More goo.
It's like a casket match, or you, instead of just throwing him in a casket, you throw him in just a giant vat of Nickelodeon slime.
And Shane can do his master jump. Braun can throw him off of the pirate ship into a vat of goo.
Yeah. So
There's too much damn goo in this whole damn show. Too much goo.
No more goo, please. All right, now goo punch. Hey,
stop referencing My Brother and Me. No one remembers that show but us.
Okay, so if Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon actually happens, okay, I guess this is my pick. If it happens, it's just gonna keep building up to the big payoff match at Mania. So I'm just gonna pick Shane McMahon with probably the assistance of wow, why am I blanking out on his name?
El Dandy.
WWE official Adam Pearce. Because why the hell not? Why the hell not? All right, Jeff.
Shane, but I don't want to see this match.
No one does.
I don't want to see this match now. I don't want to see this match at WrestleMania. I don't want to see it ever. That being said, if they do anything with this match at all at Fastlane of all things, traditional logic dictates that the face is going to get their comeuppance. The face is going to get their win back at WrestleMania. Therefore, if this match were to happen at Fastlane, Shane McMahon would have to win.
Yeah, and if it does happen at Fastlane, Shane McMahon's going to win, but not Braun Strowman isn't going to get pinned. It's going to be via count out or disqualification. Shane McMahon's going to outsmart Braun Strowman.
Oh, I see the count out as a huge possibility. I actually think that's going to happen.
Because of the stupid comments, you got to play it up. Okay, so Shane McMahon's going to outsmart Braun Strowman, and that can lead to whatever happens at WrestleMania. Shane McMahon wins via non-pinfall or submission means.
Although to be fair to Shane McMahon, I mean, when you look at Shane's most recent WrestleMania matches, they've all been pretty entertaining. Him versus Taker at Hell in a Cell, him versus AJ Styles that turned out to be an actual entertaining wrestling match, him versus The Miz with Miz Dad appearing. So when it comes to Shane McMahon WrestleMania matches, they actually do end up being entertaining in some form, shape, or form. So maybe it's going to happen again, but of course it's just Braun Strowman being thrown in such another goofy WrestleMania feud that it just starts devaluing Braun Strowman. I mean, when you face a couple SNL guys, when you have a tag team partner who is a child, you have oh my God, why am I blanking out on this?
Abraham Lincoln.
When it just comes to Braun, the only real good thing Braun Strowman ever had at WrestleMania was him winning the title against Goldberg that he was never supposed to be in the first place. So,
yeah, and for the record, I do agree with you that a lot of Shane McMahon's matches lately over the past few years have been quite good. The only problem is that I feel like I've just seen all of this stuff before. And it's just like, I feel like they're putting the cart before the horse here, where they're like, okay, let's do something with Shane, and we need something to do with Braun, so mash them up. I don't care how, just do something with them, damn it. Just like, I'm just, even if the match is presentable, I'm sure it will be. I'm just sick of Shane McMahon now. The novelty is long worn off.
The final nail in the coffin was when he introduced Raw Underground. At least that was for me. All right, now moving on to the two main event matches. First off, we got a no holds barred match, which in all honesty should have been a number one contender match for the WWE Championship, but they completely screwed that over by announcing the title match anyway on the go home show of Fastlane. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Fool, you're up. Who do you have for this wasted potential of stipulation wise of a match?
Damn, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Hey man, this was part of the one thing that I wanted to rant about this past Raw. The first thing that they did was just announce the title match, that even though the outcome of this particular match wasn't going to change at all for me, it's still the fact of adding stakes to the match, making the match much more important than just a regular old bunch of guys beating the shit out of each other. The fact that it's like, no, especially if the fact that Sheamus has been on the best run ever right now. So the whole storyline of them like, oh, Sheamus isn't exactly a main event pay-per-view main event type guy that they built, that they threw in a couple of, I think at some point last month. Yeah, it was during the build for Elimination Chamber. It just again completely devalues any, like, it's going to be a great match no matter what. It's just devaluing the fact that, okay, yeah, these guys are going to fight each other now. We've already had that 2 weeks ago with Drew beating Sheamus quite decisively. Like I said, it completely devalues it. They should have had the whole number one contender stipulation, even if it doesn't change the outcome of the match. But yeah, so yeah, your prediction, Fool?
All that being said, I actually feel very, very differently than you do. Normally, if we're talking about adding stakes to a match, again, you're not wrong, but part of the reason you add stakes to a match is to give value to a match, to add hype, to give some people a reason to tune in, which again, traditional wrestling logic does dictate. However, I'm also thinking about when this match is happening, how they're executing it, because it goes without saying that Drew McIntyre has his plans for WrestleMania set in stone already. If Sheamus has WrestleMania plans, we don't know about them, but I'm sure that someone's got something for him.
Intercontinental or United States Championship match.
Again, it works, whatever. You can throw Sheamus anywhere and they'll make it work. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here. Like, the vibe I'm getting, I'm not sure how much creative control both these guys have, but the vibe I'm getting from this whole feud, call it whatever you will, is that this seems to be one of those instances where there's like, okay, this is the last stop before our eventual WrestleMania plans. I've got my thing, you've got yours. So let's sort of lean into this match and just like have the biggest, most brutal brawl we possibly can before we go our separate ways and just go on to WrestleMania. And speaking of WrestleMania, for the record, I'm calling Drew McIntyre for the win. Obviously, there's going to be, you need to keep him looking strong. He is a main eventer. And yeah, he's got it as good as Sheamus is. Drew McIntyre, the spotlight is on him, and he's got to win on this Sunday.
All right, Brian, do you?
Yeah, the deal here is that Sheamus is on the best run of his career right now, match-wise. Okay, every match that he's been in since he's returned has been awesome. He's every feud and stuff that he's been doing has been must-see TV for me. But the fact of the matter remains is that they basically told you the outcome of this from the start when they said that Drew versus Bobby is happening at Mania. You can't have the challenger for your top title on your brand lose a big time match at a pay-per-view 3 weeks beforehand. You can't do it. Okay, so
hey, they've done it apparently with Sasha and Bianca, so I can't get past that.
That's why I said top title. Okay, that's it.
The top women's title.
Well, let's face it, okay? They screwed that pooch a long time ago. And let's be completely honest here. When Vince McMahon thinks about top titles, women's title isn't it.
Unless Charlotte's involved.
Yeah, so it's just it comes down to the fact that they announced the title match too early. And because of that, you know what's going to happen here. It's going to be a big time brawl. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be awesome. But we know the winner going in. Drew McIntyre to win.
Okay. I was like,
okay. I did say that earlier, but apparently you weren't paying attention, Mr. Undisputed Scholar.
Oh, snap.
Hey, man, why you got to throw shade? Why you got to throw shade at me like that? That's not cool.
Because you're throwing shade at me thinking that I didn't say who my pick was when I said it 10 seconds in.
Well, just solidify the prediction. I'm waiting for you to go just to end it with saying the final. It's like I start prediction saying, "Oh, this is my prediction," and then I end it saying it again just to close it.
For those of us who aren't paying attention.
So don't be throwing shade at me. Just
no one's safe from the shade master.
Okay then. Well then, suck it, Trebek. So with that, yeah, I'm also gonna go with Drew McIntyre because they completely screwed up the story booking of this match, and it took. Yes, they're gonna have it. They're gonna have an awesome match, and when it comes to creative freedom in the match, I think they do actually have the creative freedom. I mean, that's one thing about Drew is that his matches, he puts so much detail in his matches, which people even point out the whole match that ended in a no contest between Drew and Sheamus the week before, where they hit each other with the stairs. Drew throws himself over the wall to storyline tell that there is a barrier between two former best friends. It's that attention to detail that's like, good for you, Drew. Good for you. At telling a good story in the ring. So yeah, you can't have the number one contender for the championship lose. So he's not going to lose. And with that, Drew McIntyre is going for the win. That's how you make a prediction, asshole. All right, now we're going on to the Universal Championship match with Edge as the special enforcer, Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan. Brian, who do you have?
This one was actually kind of Roman Reigns isn't losing the title here. It's not happening. It's just I'm just trying to come up with how he doesn't lose, because there's a lot of talk about making this a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Reigns versus Bryan versus Edge. And with Edge as a special enforcer, you can get it to that point by maybe having Edge accidentally cost Daniel Bryan here as the special enforcer. But yeah, this is another case of you can't ruin a good thing here. The best thing that you have going on either show is what Roman Reigns is doing right now. So as much as I like Daniel Bryan, as much as I like the idea of Daniel Bryan having a championship run, you can't do it at the expense of the Roman Empire. At this point, the Roman Empire has to keep rolling. Roman wins here via shenanigans of outside and special enforcer means, because I think Edge accidentally cost Bryan the match here.
I actually am going to go a little different with the prediction. I'm also going to go with Roman Reigns, but I don't think Edge is going to accidentally take Bryan out. I think he's going to do it on his own will. He is going to take Bryan attempt to take Bryan out of this, because just from the whole storyline build up to this is this Edge is complaining the fact that Bryan is getting a title match before him in the first place. So I could see Edge just pull on shenanigans of his own will to try and take Daniel Bryan out of this match. And it's going to lead to, I actually do think it's going to lead to a triple threat match at Mania. I think Bryan's going to get himself put in because of not taking this being taken out lightly. I can even see it going like Stone Cold level, him trying to get himself into that triple threat. So yeah, in the end, it's going to be Roman successfully defending it, but with Edge being a big factor in it. Fool?
Yeah, I feel like there's endless ways that this can go when it comes to WrestleMania. Obviously, we know we're getting Edge Roman at WrestleMania. Will we get Edge Roman and Bryan at WrestleMania? Could be nice, could be fun. Again, endless ways to get there, but at the end of the day, just got to keep it short and sweet. It's not going to affect how we need to begin all of this at Fastlane. There's no choice here. Roman Reigns wins.
Okay, awesome. That is our predictions for WWE Fastlane. Now we want to know what you, the viewing audience, predicts. Do you think there's going to be a title change in more ways than one on the show or on our show, the Scholars of Wrestling? Who do you think will go into WrestleMania as the Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion of the world? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is at Fastlane. So be sure to like our video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you like what you see and hear and all that shenanigans. And if you want to follow us on our social media pages, you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on the Twitter machines at ScholarsOW. You can follow each of us individually. You can follow me at The Avataric. You, Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at clutching tenaciously to my belt at I'm Robbie Rage.
And Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
You can reach me aggressively hoping that goo causes a no contest at Fastlane at Atomic Beanball.
Wow, it really is coming down when it comes to the title. It really does come down to Alexa and Orton. Wow, who would have thunk it? Actually, oh
What
boy,
will
this is
the
gonna
two do?
this is gonna be a very interesting match to view, to say the least. Well, and if you want to go ahead and get in touch with Scholar Charlie, you can find him at Charleme. Just to be like, hi Charlie, we miss you. And yeah, that's all she wrote for the Scholars of Wrestling Fastlane Prediction Show. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. Laughing in the fast lane.
I hate Nickelodeon gack.
Yeah.